Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Khora, the cat frame, the whip frame, the chain frame, whatever you want to call her. I don't think she's that good of a frame in her current state, but that's not to say that she can't be improved upon with later patches, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. We're going to look at all of her abilities, kind of talk about what we like about them, what we dislike about them, and how we would like to see them change, because I feel like providing feedback is probably the best option we have here, because she's just very underwhelming when you compare like all of her abilities to literally any frame that does something similar to said ability, right? So yeah, let's just jump into it, right? We also have her rifle, her secondary, and her melee to look at too. I like the weapons. The weapons are okay. They're not great, but they have like their own niche audience. So if you're a fan of single shot DMRs, like elemental darts and dual wield swords, then the weapons are going to be right up your alley. I do recommend the weapons. They are about like a 7 out of 10. So yeah, but getting down to it, the frame isn't so great. So her first ability is called Whiplash, and it's basically you use your whip to deal damage to enemies. Pretty straightforward, right? So if we spawn in a group of, let's start with Lancers. We'll start small, because using these abilities versus heavy gunners isn't realistic. She's more of a casual frame, and she's not like that high level killer right now, at least. So let's go ahead and take a look. So we'll spawn in 20 Lancers, and freezing them will actually give us a stealth bonus. So we're not going to freeze them, but I am going to make myself invincible, okay? So if we simulate them, and we get our energy, already got it. So your one scales with power strength, so 165 damage with the current build that I'm using. It has a range stat, and it has a radius stat. Range is increased by power range mods, of course, so stretch, overextend it, etc. But if we take a look, versus the level 155 Corrupted Lancer, we deal little to no damage. And you actually have to be aiming your whip correctly to deal any damage to the enemies, right? So, of course, this is going to deal like almost no damage because these enemies have a lot of armor. But if we take a look at even the unarmored enemy, doesn't deal a lot of damage, right? We have to use multiple casts to actually take off like a decent portion of this guy's health. Now, you can change it up a little bit. You're going to deal more damage to enemies if you cast your 2, and then you cast your 1 on the enemy that's caught in the 2. And you can get more damage out of it if you're using a Riven as well, so it takes from your melee mods. But, that being said, it's still not great damage. And something like Atlas's 1 or Gara's 1 is going to be far better than Khora's 1. At least in my opinion. It's like a pseudo exalted ability. Let's just go ahead and revive my Ningen kitty cat over here. It's like a pseudo exalted ability, which just isn't great. You know, it's not going to deal a bunch of damage. But if you have like your stealth multiplier on there, you have a bunch of multipliers for your damage, it's going to be fine. Like if you're building for a crit build or something, it's going to be alright in terms of the damage, but it's just not up there. It doesn't scale with your combo multiplier either, so that kind of sucks, and it takes out a lot of potential. So yeah, so the second ability, like I already mentioned, is a crowd control ability, which is actually going to increase the amount of damage that your 1 deals. So if we go ahead and we use our 2 on one enemy here, it's actually going to draw in other enemies, and it acts as a crowd control ability. Now, I don't like how this is, well, we'll not get nitpicky right now, but there's a bunch of things that I don't like about the just overall kit off the frame. Like, I can use my 1 when I'm jumping around, which, you know, fits with the flow of the game, being able to use this on the move, but you would ask yourself why I can't do the same thing with my 2. I have to be aiming at an enemy to cast my 2, instead of just making it like an area of effect, cast it where I'm aiming type of ability. You have to be aiming at an enemy to sort of entangle them, and then the entanglement kind of spreads throughout any enemy that gets close, right? So it's a CC ability, which is going to increase the damage that your 1 deals. So you entangle them, get them all in a group, and then use your 1. And that's how that's supposed to work. It's okay. It's okay. It's not amazing CC, and it's also still not amazing damage, right? Let's go ahead and kill those guys just to, you know, get all the noise away. revive our cat again because it keeps on dying, which is, you know, keep that phrase in mind because I'm going to be saying it a lot whenever I summon Venari with my third ability. So this is Venari, a summonable cat. Summonable kitty cat, right? So you'll notice in the top right hand corner, I have an armor buff of 30%. With every companion you have equipped, you're going to get a 15% armor bonus. So Venari and your Kavat / Kubru / Sentinel is going to account towards this passive, this armor bonus. So it maxes out at 30%. Can't go any higher than that. It doesn't matter if your buddies have a Kavat equipped. It's going to stay at that flat 30%. It's only for Kavats or companions that you have equipped, right? You also notice that there's a bunch of spikes on Khora whenever we summon Venari. So while Venari is here, you get a nice sort of aesthetic change, which is pretty cool. So Venari is just like any other Kavat companion, except she has 3 different modes. We have our attack mode, where she's going to attack enemies. Our defense mode, which we swap to just by pressing 3, which is going to ragdoll and disarm enemies. And then we have our healing mode, which is going to heal the most damaged player in your squad. So I think it's 50 heal or 50 health per second on Venari. So it's all right. You can definitely pair that along with something like your Medi kit on your Sentinel to get a lot of healing. So Khora's armor is 225 base, so you get that 30% increase to your 225 armor, which is pretty nice. You pair that with the fact you have a Sentinel with your Medi kit on, plus the healing from Venari. She's actually pretty tanky, so decent. And then we have Strangledome. So let's talk about the AI on Venari first. So I'm going to go ahead and unequip my Kavat here real quick, my Ningen, so it doesn't run around in strip armor. And we're just going to have our Carrier Prime equipped. Like so. Here we go. So this is going to heal me as well. And then we're going to go ahead, simulate. Watch how fast Venari dies. Of course, these are level 155. So, like I said, this isn't very realistic. Like, it's not so often you're going to be, you know, going up against these levels of enemies. But Venari can hold her own versus the Lancers and stuff until she dies, okay? Her health is going to deplete so fast if she gets caught. But she can strip the armor and then deal a decent amount of damage. So what I would recommend, use the protect mode for Venari. Don't bother using the attack mode. Protect mode, disarm, and ragdoll. And then there you go. Lay into your enemies that way. And that is what Venari is best used for at the minute. If you get low health, swap to the healing mode. Let your Sentinel and Venari heal you. And that's awesome. Just keep in mind that if you are playing with other players, if their health is lower than yours, Venari will heal them instead of you. So that's something to keep in mind. So yeah, there's that. Last but not least, we have Strangledome, which is her kind of pseudo snow globe Bastille hybrid ability. And we're just going to go ahead and pause the AI so they don't shoot at me this time. We're going to simulate the guys. So Strangledome, you can have 2 of these cast at the one time, and basically what it is, it's just a large dome that is going to pick up the enemies and swing them about the place. So that's pretty much it. It deals damage over time. So if we take a look at the build that I'm currently running, it deals 137.5 damage per second. Of course, this is going to be lower if the enemy has a bunch of armor. So using this versus Corpus versus Infested, it's going to be more beneficial versus them than it is going to be Grenier or Corrupted enemies because they have more armor or just armor in general. So, yeah. I mod Khora for duration and range because personally I think that Strangledome is the only real ability that is currently worth modding for. That's not to say that the rest of her kit can't be improved upon, okay? So the one is alright because you can use Riven mods, you can use melee mods. It's going to one-hit like level 30 to 50 enemies, which are the types of enemies that you're going to be playing against. Like just running through the star chart, doing your relic runs, etc, etc. I really don't think that Khora was designed to be an endgame frame with her current loadout. Maybe if she had the loadout that was proposed before damage 2.5 might be different, but because those damage 2.5 changes took off the shelf pretty much, then Khora's entire kit had to be redesigned, and this is what we got, which is very underwhelming, at least to a wide or a large majority of the player base. So I don't know. The two, it doesn't feel right. Like, it just doesn't flow. The two and the one have synergy with one another, but you notice how I'm able to jump around and just whip things like this? You know, how I usually play Warframe. If I was able to do that with my two, where I could be in midair and, like, just cast at a random area. So say I cast at my two here, then any enemy that was around the sort of casting area would then be entangled. Instead of having to aim at one enemy, and then the enemies have to, like, be near that one enemy that I cast on to then be, like, crowd controlled. You know, if it was just, like, I can look at this area, press 2, and then that area is the entanglement area. I think that would make the ability a lot better. Also, just allow me to cast it whenever I want, and just kind of makes it flow a little better, if you get what I'm saying. That way, you have more widespread CC, more damage on your one, which is awesome. Makes it a little bit more, I'd say, viable. So, that's just how I see it. Her free, in a lot of players' opinions, is a joke. Some people are saying that it shouldn't be based off duration. It should just be a drain ability. Some people are saying that Venari should just be Khora's passive, and then they could do something with the free, making Strangledome the free, and then have the Exalted Whip in the 4 if they want to take another crack at the Exalted Whip. Get it? Crack at the whip. Haha, 12 by the way. But, yeah, so Venari, in my opinion, is kind of a joke, just having that on an ability slot and then basing it off duration. It is a summon, which is why it is, like, duration based. I've seen that argument, which it's fine, but it just doesn't make the frame super desirable, in my opinion, at least. Like, if I was making Beginner Guides 2018, I wouldn't be saying, oh, we need to get Khora because she's good at X thing, right? She's a survival frame. She doesn't really... I would put her in the same category as I would put something like Atlas or Zephyr, you know? She's one of those just fun to play frames that you would play in a survival missions, but that's really about it, you know? So, I don't know. I think Venari should either be made the passive of Khora or have some sort of, like, aura attached to her which buffs the entire squad, like damage buffs or something. That would be cool. So the offensive mode gives damage buff, the defensive mode gives a damage reduction buff, and then the healing mode just, like, maybe passive healing for everybody, like a rejuvenation mod or something, you know, on the aura. That would be cool, and that would make Venari a lot more viable, or having it just so the free allowed you to swap between those, and then Venari was the passive, or just keep it how it is right now. I don't know. A lot of players don't like the fact that duration is attached to Venari, which I definitely agree with. Maybe taking the duration off Venari and making it so it's just like a one-time cast and she stays alive until she dies, and then being able to swap through the different modes with the auras attached would be a good idea. And then increasing the base duration of Strangledome, so then you can mod more heavily towards range and a little bit more power strength to turn it more into a zoning ability, which actually can be used to kill enemies, right? Because right now, you have to, like, completely neglect power strength to throw on overextend it, stretch, you know, cutting drift, augur reach to make, like, a decent sized Strangledome, but it deals, like, little to no damage, right? So this is a max range build, but the grabbing area, like the range that the Strangledomes have, like, if enemies get close, like, they'll be grab and then brought into the Strangledome, which is pretty awesome. Also, what I don't really like is the fact that the Strangledome doesn't go where I'm aiming, right? So I could be aiming this way, but my Khora is facing to the left. If I cast Strangledome, it's still going to go in front of my Khora. So let me just use an energy pad. It's going to go in front of my Khora. It's going to go where the whip cracks, which is kind of meh. You know, I would much rather prefer Khora was turned around to face where I'm aiming to cast the Strangledome where I want it to actually go. That would be dope as well, but I don't know. Other than that, that's pretty much Khora. I'd like to see her 2 more of like a AoE whip crack is like an entanglement area, so it puts like entanglement on the ground, and any enemies that walk in there get entangled, and then they can grab any enemy that gets close as well. Maybe increasing the base damage of the 1, or I don't know, maybe myself just getting a better melee build for my 1 would be awesome as well. Venari, removing the duration off her, allowing you to summon her, and then her staying with you until she dies, and then using the free to swap between the modes with the aura buffs would be very nice. It would put more emphasis on modding for range, and then also strength as well. Increasing the base duration of Strangledome, and maybe a little bit of the damage that it deals would also be pretty nice. So I actually have 2 builds for Khora. So this is my range build where I have Stretch, Overextend It, and Cunning Drift for the range, Power Drift for a little bit of Power Strength because I didn't want to completely neglect it with that Overextend It mod, Vitality for health, Constitution Prime Continuity for ability duration, Prime Flow for energy, Streamline for efficiency, pretty straightforward. And then I have my Config A, which is more of like a pseudo mix between all of them, which will make my abilities deal more damage, but at the cost of less duration and less range. So we have Augur, Reach, and Cunning Drift for the range, as well as Stretch, Intensify for ability strength, Vitality for health, Constitution, and Prime Continuity for duration. You could replace the Cunning Drift for Power Drift if you wanted more damage. So 5 Forma for the Khora, which was insane because she had a dash polarity on her X list, so that was kind of a waste of a Forma just to remove that. I don't like seeing polarities on the X list slot. I also don't like seeing D polarities. I'd much rather prefer my dash. So I have 2 Vs, 2 dashes, and 1 D. On top of that, you have to form a Venari separately as well. So I went ahead and I threw 5 Forma on here to throw on this build, which is kind of meh. Hunter mods, so you know how these mods are like part of a set. They don't actually like contribute to the set mods that you have on your frame or your weapons, so they're kind of wasted on Venari unless you want the actual stat that they give. So I just use Venari for armor stripping. So I use Sharpened Claws here to strip away the armor by 120%, and then I can damage them. Animal Instinct for Loot Radar, Shelter for the shield while reviving, Bite for damage, and all that good stuff. So just survivability mods, damage mods, etc. She deals impact damage, which is kind of meh. So that is Khora. I'll have reviews coming out for weapons, but that's the first look at Khora. I think she's rather underwhelming. I don't recommend spending platinum to buy her. You can farm her in the normal mode of the Sanctuary Onslaught, which you have to have the new Strange quest completed to actually get. But other than that, she's a very underwhelming frame, and I would like to see some changes to her where we get aura buffs with Venari, we increase the base duration of the Strangledome, we make it so that the 2 is like more of an area of effect, so we can use our 2 on any surface, and then it entangles that area. Any enemy that walks over that entangled area gets entangled and drags enemies in, and then we can use our 1 to murder entangled enemies and stuff like that. So yeah, just making her a better frame. I hope you guys liked those proposed changes to Gara, and I hope you guys enjoyed the sort of explanation or rundown of her kit. That's going to be it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit that like button below. If you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.